Alright. Gotta make this pick here in my slow draft. Let me pull that up here. Okay. Pull up my NFBC draft. Here are the players that have been picked. Here is the current draft board. I'm picking from the 4. Let me see who's been picked. I'll put those people in. I'm on the clock in this draft right here. TDK Canaries. You can't see this because this is the part that you're not supposed to show. You're not supposed to show other people the names of that, but no names are shown here, so whatever. These are random picks by random people. And this pick after my pick of Nick Pivetta was Framber Valdez. And then you've got Randy Rosarenka. Randy. Nolan McLean. He finished. Mikel Garcia. Mikel Garcia finishes out the 6th round. The 7th round is started by Nolan McLean. And then Jackson Merrill. Oh, I was considering Jackson Merrill if he got back to me. I really didn't want that pick. That would have been outfielder heavy, but I think that might have been decent value. Nico Horner there. Let's see what the pick evaluator says about that. Okay, so there we go. That's caught up, and now these will fill in. All the calculations will happen. And tell me if he thinks those are bad picks or not here. Let's see, I have an hour and 48 minutes in this 2-hour. I try to be pretty quick with my picks. So I guess I'll just make this pick, then I'll explain to you the tracker a little bit. Well, this is the dashboard of the tracker, so it has all the teams. Here's everybody's teams, so you can see who Team Ed has picked if you want to care about them. These are the remaining players, so these are just simple drafted and available remaining players. It'll tell you who's available, who's drafted. So catchers, there's my number 1 catcher left. Here's the catchers descending relievers. I should have that available there too. These are the standings calculator. Those are the numbers. Those are the standings. Here's the draft board. It just auto-fills from over here. Here's the position charts. Lets you know the positions you need. Standings again. Innings pitched, total pick value, which is something new to me that I'm trying to understand where pick value can come from. And hitters to pitchers. How much you spend on hitters, but how much you spend on your pitchers. Below 1 is pitchers, above 1 is hitters. These are just some calculations for the numbers and some position and scarcity factors. So that's just the dashboard here. So now let's use that to make a pick. That brings me around here to the number 94 pick. There are some players falling. Their names are Austin Riley, O'Neill Cruz, Pasquantini. That's not a faller. Bradish, I'm off Bradish. Soderstrom. I already have outfielder, and I have a first baseman I'm planning to take later. I think first baseman is fat. I don't have to take first base. And I'm heavy on outfielder already, so I'm not going to take outfielder here. I'm going to stay with my overall strategy. Although my pick indicator is showing it's a bit of a reach. I'm going to take the homie Nick Pivetta. What up? What's up, 4 arms in a row? What do you think, dude? Well, we got Nick Pivetta already. We're actually going to take the homie Tyler Glass now. How's that? Take a Dodger? How do you feel about that, dude?
Fine.
You feel fine about that?
We'll take this. He's the same colors.
Okay. Let's take Glass now. That's kind of a wild pick, but that'll secure me 4 starters. I'll be good on 4 starters there, son. I'll have my first 7 picks. I'll have 4 starters. I'll be playing that mid-starter game. Yeah, let's do that. Let's make that pick. Tyler Glass now picked. Boom. Probably not smart, but he's on the Dodgers, and we're gonna just get that. Let's put Tyler in there. Tyler Glass now. He's in. Okay, so that would calculate us up. That's given us 4 starters in a row. I'm playing, son. This year I'm playing the old I'm playing the old, get out of here. I'm playing the old stack a lot of mid-arms. Stack a lot of mid-arms for your average this year, son. That's what I'm playing. Okay. You ready? All right, Glasnow. He's super mid. But you stack enough of them, you'll be average mid. And these other guys are going to have to stack poor guys, poor starters, and then that will bring their average down. Anyway, whatever. So here's the projector right here. This is where I put together, and I find those numbers that you saw on the other screen. Here it is right here. So here's the Fangraphs projections, the Steamer projections, and my own parallax projections. And then I'm taking one part of each of these to make my projections. This, you can also add more parts or less parts, however you want to mix it, take it to 0. Where Bloomfield was just all depth charts. I'm still combo. This is my weighted z-score idea here, my data fit hybrid. You can change this to what you would like. These are modeled over here, what they kind of do and whatever. That's just a way to give you a Z rank. It puts pitchers and hitters together. I like this because it puts Scooble up, and I really think he could almost go that high, 5th or 6th. Anyway, so let's talk about the parallax. The parallax are my own projections. So the parallax is just the Marcel regressions of the last 3 years. So that would be 2023, 2024, 2025 put together in different ratios. Those ratios are right here, the yearly ratios. And then the 2025 factors. Go get in that bath. Go get in that bath. And then another thing I've done, which I particularly like, is I took 2025 and I split it into 3 parts. These 3 parts right here, the first, second, and third half of the season. And then I've applied the same methodology to that as I would the previously 3 years. And I've arrived at what I've called the 2025 Marcel. So that is my last 3 year ratings, are 2023, 2024, 2025 Marcel. And then I Marcel those together per year, and I get my average per inning, and I create my projections. And then I age regress them and to the mean and Marcel them. Those are the 3 things I do, and then I get these numbers here. So this is a pretty baseline number. I'm just looking to establish more of a baseline than based upon the prior stats than those projection systems of Fangraphs and Steamer. So then I put that into my projector. I consider that to be like a scientific control. So I put that parallax projections into my projector. Now, of course, if you want to change anything in yellow on these spreadsheets, can be changed. You want to put a custom regression factor, custom plate appearances, that'll all change and filter down. You want to change this, default regression, 5 players, 1 league. You want to change your Marcel factors. This regression adjustment is made to make the wins and the saves not regress. Here's also the age factors. These are set just kind of lamely at like 0.6%, higher and lower every year over 29. Kind of lame, but I mean, I guess that's what I'm going with right now. And the same thing is for the bats, so that's what the parallax is. And then you've got the data tools here. And this is just data and tools. That's just kind of like where you got to keep some stuff sometimes. These are the names I'm missing. These are the needed projections that I'm missing. Anyway, so that's the draft tracker there. Somebody after Glasnow was picked has just taken, let's see, draft room. Glasnow. I went Glasnow, and then this guy went. I like the mid. Oh, nobody's gone yet. Nobody's gone after Glasnow. I gotta tell you, I really like the mid-arm strategy. I really like the strategy of these mid-arms. Look at these Ks. Are you kidding me? You're stacking those Ks. Somebody's got to have a better ratio year than is showing right there. Somebody's got to pop off in there, right there. And also the variance on that is not going to be so horrible. Those guys are healthy. They're going to pitch. You got to be looking for 1,200 Ks, 1,100 innings in these gladiators. Anyway, that's how I use my sheet, and I kind of just have the sheet. I worked on it, so this is like the 3rd year. So I kind of, here's the position charts. It'll show you what you need to get. And kind of gives you an idea like Bloomfield was saying, what people are going to draft in front of you, what might be scarcity, things like that. I'm into stacking innings pitches and at bats. I think everybody should do that in every league. And then another feature that I do like is I provided a graded rank. And now the graded is just, it's like, so Juan Soto, he's 100%. Pete Crow is 99, 98, 97, 96, 95, 90. So these stats return at those decreasing percentages. So that's called degradation. That makes it so like if you're chasing something, then it's impossible to catch it. So it's a judgment of how much you're chasing. So that's like when I'm looking at my ranks during the draft, I look at different things. I look at the total ranking, right? And as Bloomfield was pointing out, that does you nothing during the draft, because the draft positions and all that, and catchers, and so that doesn't really do you anything. And average does you some, but as he pointed out as well, catchers 400 at-bats, outfielders 600 at-bats. So the average is more like, okay, if you had a position adjustment factor, it would be a truer average. But average is something you can more easily watch the draft. You can see yourself coming back. And if these are away from each other and coming back towards each other, then you know you're doing well. Like for instance, in the draft, I am not doing well, but I see my averages closing on my total. And I know my degraded is not below my total. So I'm not chasing because my degradation would be worse. And my average is higher, so I'm trending in the right direction. So I kind of use that degraded factor as, I don't know, just like a vibes factor, a trending factor for your team. Anyway, I got these pick values here. I don't think these are really worth much. I think they are like vaguely, red is good and black. Red is bad and black is good. Vaguely, I would kind of go with that, I guess I would say. Like I just barely got a good pick in Glasnow there. But he was, anyway, so back at it. That's what I have my sheet for. Kind of just be able to walk away from the game and then just be able to turn it back on and have all my information right back where it's at. I have another one of these from my other draft. One that's labeled TDK Mammoths, one that's labeled Glaciers. I just open them up and just go to them when it's my turn to draft. Anyway, yeah, these are also available. I'm not hiding this information. I mean, nothing invented, everything discovered, right? Right? I mean, for real, everything discovered. So this is available on the TDK.com, TDK90min.com website in 3 different versions. Because, you know what, you got to have a podcast you like. So I think that this podcast should be the best podcast. We should go out there and dominate these other podcasts. So, nothing invented, everything discovered, available on TDK90min.com. Yeah, good luck. 2 hour slow drafts, actually 2 hour slow gladiators, actually the best game out there. Maybe I'll see you in one of them. All right, y'all. Peace.